What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Journal. SPK! Kick the beat. So guys, I understand the dating issues happening in Black America, and I see it. You know, I'm from the African American community. I grew up on the West Coast. Listen, guys, what you guys see is what I've also seen. I've experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm not even talking about women as far as what they look like. I'm talking about ugly as far as attitudes. And, you know, I've had my issues just like you guys have had your issues. But you know what? For me, I want to stick with my community. You know, I have a very Black-centered channel. I'm even in Africa a lot and stuff like that. I just love our people despite our differences. But everybody is not like me. You have some Black men who love our people and they say like, well, I just think I can get a better deal dating somewhere else. And you even see there's a part of the community called the Traveling Bros where Black men are doing just that. You have Black men that are going to the Dominican Republic, Black men who are going to Africa. You have Black men who are going to Brazil, Black men going to Colombia, Black men going to the Philippines. And even you have Black men who are in the military, living in different countries. You have guys living in Germany, guys living in Austria, different things like that. And some guys live in America and just, you know, decide to date out exclusively out of the race. There are some brothers who date just specifically in the Pan-African community. That could be, you know, African women. It could be Afro-Latina women. And then you have some brothers who are just dealing with, you know, women that are white and, you know, so on and so forth. But there is an element to this on the international level of Black men dealing with foreign women. And, you know, the kind of gist of it all is that you get better treatment. These women are more submissive. These women are, you know, going to be a little bit more on your program. And for the most part, I could agree with that statement. Women from other places are a little bit more cultured when it comes to men and male and female dynamics. But there is still one problem, okay? And this is what I see. I see a lot of guys who date either in the interracial parts of America, or they're dating, you know, in the international market. And then what they'll do is they'll go to these places, and obviously the conversation is going to be up for this. Like, why are you not married? You know, you're 35 years old or 30 years old and you're coming to my country and you're not married. And they're going to ask you that question because men typically in these cultures are already married. It's highly unlikely a man is 35, you know, living in Kenya or living in Ghana that's not married unless, well, he's living an alternative lifestyle, right? So that's kind of suspicious of them. But then what happens is I know so many Black men start saying, sad music, man, you know, where I'm from, these African American women in my community, man, they're not feminine. They're not good. They ain't good women. All right. So let me just kind of start right there. That conversation tends to happen a lot more than what some Black men want to talk about. You have Black men who are vocal about the issues that we have to other people. So what happens is that there tends to be somewhat of a worship of foreign women, a little bit. I'm not saying this with every guy, but I do see it with certain people, right? And so what happens is it kind of puts these women on a pedestal where they feel like, well, shit, your own women can't treat you right. So I might not treat you the best that you can get because you don't have anywhere to go. That's why you're over here dealing with foreign ladies. Now, I want to talk about that because, you know, living outside of America the last 6 or 7 years, I've gotten my economic influence or my economic welfare from the Black community online. You know, our people have been so great in supporting me and support my concepts, especially here in the Black manosphere community. I didn't have to come to Poland, let's say, and get a job in Poland because, you know, my people can support what I do. And so when I return back home to the States, I already have some brothers that I can already work with and be locked in, right? So I have some flexibility. I'm not just, you know, going to be dealing with, you know, people in, you know, in Africa or people in Poland because, again, my people are great enough to support what I do. And I think that's what you have is power. Even if you're a Black man dating out, I just don't see the whole purpose in telling other groups of women. I'm not saying everybody does this because everybody doesn't, but to let people of another community know that you have a disdain for what's going on in your community, it doesn't give you that flexibility. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, even if I'm dating in Africa, like, well, why don't you, you know, dating African American women? I said, well, they're my first choice. You know, I'm just overseas right now, but that's who I prefer. And I say that just to let them know that, listen, okay, this guy can kind of go back to his own community and his own women, so he just won't take anything off of me. And that's why I try to let them know, like, hey, listen, yeah, I prefer our own women. Our women are beautiful. They're gorgeous, Even if we have those problems, I never let them know that. Why? Because if you don't, what you're going to find out is that they'll start treating you a little worse than they treat their own men. And I've seen this happen many times. Guys, if you've been in the DR, you've been in Colombia, you've been in Brazil, you know that sometimes these ladies in some of these other communities, I'm not saying all the time, but they'll try stuff with our men that they would never do with the men in their community. And it's crazy because I see brothers actually doing more. Like, black men in America, when they go to overseas, they're required to do more. Why? Because you're an American. You know what I mean? You're supposed to bring more money. You're supposed to bring more stuff. And then when you get with some of these ladies, they will show a lack of respect towards you, some of them, than they would do their own guys. I'm not saying this is the, situation, but this is what you see. And I believe because certain brothers have put these ladies on a pedestal because of their beauty, because of their booty. And then some of these ladies, they're in situations, guys, where they're just, they're beautiful to us, but in their society, there's so many beautiful women there, they don't even think they're beautiful. I think what we do as black men, we gas their heads up. And I know this is something that's true because some brothers go to Dominican Republic, shout out to Marcus A. Brown and E. Dean Cole. They've talked about it, especially Marcus A. Brown. He talked about blowing up the spot, right? And a lot of brothers go there and they see these chicks and they just start overpaying because they're beautiful, because they're mulatto and stuff like that. So when other Americans come, the women start to be like, okay, well, it's $200 for this or $300 for that. When, that same person in their community won't even give them $30 and they'll still do it for $30. And that's something I think black men got to stop doing. Black men have to stop downing publicly black women to the other racist ladies that they're dating. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself leverage. Give yourself some respect, because you need to always respect at some point the level of the community that you come from, even if, no matter how bad it is. Whenever I go to Africa, I always talk about, good things going on for the most part, in the black community, because the black community is what support me. I'm talking about the black American community. They're the ones that allow me to do what I do every day. There's no way in hell I'm going to put somebody else supremely over the people that have made a way for me. And even though we may have problems with some of the women and some of the guys date out, you always want that leverage. Like, listen, if you're not living up to the standard, you're also gone. And I'm going to tell you guys like this. It is a blessing and a privilege for a lot of ladies to be dating an American man, especially a black American man. All right. For the things that, you can do, you can change their life if you're doing very good. You don't want to be taking more disrespect than the men in her community. And I've seen that happen many times where you have black American brothers who are doing way more than the men of their communities, and you're getting way less respect than some of the guys that are there. And I believe the reason why that happens is that sometimes these women are being pedestalized to positions that their own men won't. As so many horror stories I've seen, guys who are doing this thing, for these women, and they go back and deal with these local guys who can't give them nothing. And if they're going to give you that kind of attitude, let their men take care of them. You know what I'm saying? You can stay in the black American community for that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way I'm going to put up with somebody else's stuff and I can go back to, Atlanta or Sacramento. I'd rather, if I'm going to put up with somebody's shit, I'll put up with it in the black American female community before I go put up with for somebody else that's not really in the community I come from. I'm just not going to deal with it. If I'm going to deal with somebody else that's not in our community, they're going to have to really be above and beyond what the people in my community are, because I got to be above and beyond. And they make us be above and beyond. When you go to Colombia, when you go to DR, you got to be doing more than what the local guy is doing. You got to bring more money, more skills, more everything. So you should be getting the same respect, right? And I think that's imperative. I think you can do that by not putting them on the pedestal. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I already appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. Check out the first comment at the top. And as you know, the performer remains at all-time high. I'm out.